Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello dear students. This is the third part of the past perfect tense lesson. Now it's time to answer the classwork together. So open with me your English pamphlet on page 47. Let's start. Rewrite to do as shown between brackets. Number 1. Abeer arrived, then Reham cooked the lunch. And I'm asked to use after. The steps are the following. Number 1, you have to decide which is the first action and which is the second action. Here, which is the first action? Yes, Abeer arrived. Great. So, above the first action, I will write number 1. Okay, the first action is always written in which tense? Past perfect. Great. Okay, then Reham cooked the lunch. This is the second action, so I will write number 2. And the second action is always written in the past simple. Great. Okay, I'm asked to use after. After loves which one of them? The first action or the second action? The first one. Great. So after we'll take the first action after it. After Abeer had arrived, comma, Reham cooked the lunch. Number 2. The rescue team arrived. Then the building collapsed. Again, what is the first action and what is the second action? By the way, it's very clear from the word then. So the first action here is the arrived. Great. So this is number 1, which will be in the past perfect, and the second action is the collapsed. Great, which will be in the past. And I'm asked to use before. Before is followed by which action? The first or the second one? The second one. Great. So the sentence will be the rescue team had arrived before buildings collapsed. Number 3. I opened the door, then Hoda left. I'm asked to use by the time. Okay, what is the first action? Open the door. Great, so this is number 1. It will be in the past perfect. And this is number 2. It will be in the past simple. And by the time is always followed by the second action. Great, the past simple. So it will be I had opened the door by the time Hoda left. It's very easy. Just decide which is the first action and which is the second one. Put them in the correct tense and do the sentence. Okay, number 4. Samar did her homework, then she went to the park. And I'm asked to use before. Again, the first action is doing her homework. Great, so this is number 1. And the second action is going to the park. Great, so this will be in the past perfect and this will be in the past simple. Before is always followed by the second tense. Great. So it will be Samar had done her homework before she went to the park. Had and the past participle of the verb did. Great. Okay, number 5. By the time we arrive at the hotel, the storm ended. And I have the verbs without correction, so I have to correct the verbs. Here I have a keyword. This is easier. So the keyword here is by the time. By the time is always followed by past simple. Great. So here it will be past simple and the other one will be in the past perfect. Great. So by the time we arrived at the hotel, the storm had ended. Okay, Shimaa eat her dinner, then her friends arrive. Here I have to use by the time, and of course I will correct the verbs. Okay, the first action here is eating her dinner, and the second action is the arrival of her friend. Use by the time. By the time loves which action? Great, the second one. So it will be Shimaa had eaten her dinner by the time her friends arrived. Number 7. He have a shower, then he get dressed. And I'm asked to use after. Again, the first action here is the having shower. Great. So this is number 1. It will be in the past perfect. Great. Okay, second action is get. It will be in the past simple. Great. So it will be got. After loves, which one? After is always followed by the first action. Great. So the sentence will be after he had a shower, he got dressed. And don't be confused of these two hads. Okay, because number one is the queen and number two is the past participle of the main action, having a shower. Great. She make lunch, then she do the ironing. Use before. The first action here is making lunch. Great. And the second action is doing. Great. And I'm asked to use before. So it will be number one, past perfect, number two, past simple, and before loves to. So it will be she had made lunch before she did the ironing. Number 9, they clean the car, then they take it to the garage. Number 1, cleaning the car. Great, so it will be past perfect, had cleaned. And number 2, taking the car to the garage, so it will be past simple, so it will be took. And I have to use after, which is followed by the first action, so it will be after they had cleaned the car, they took it to the garage. Number 10, I talk to him, then I feel better. Use after. Okay, the first action is talking to him, so it will be in the past perfect, had talked. Great. The second action is feeling better. It will be in the past simple, felt. Great. So the sentence will be, after I had talked to him, I felt better. Number 11, I read the cookery book, then I make that cake. And I will use before. The first action here is reading the cookery book. Great. So it will be in the past perfect, had read. So the second action is making the cake. The second action is written in the past simple, so this will be made. Great. Let's write the sentence. I had read the cookery book before I made that cake. May type all the letters before she leaves the office, and the verbs are not corrected. So where is the keyword? Before. Great. Before is followed always by the past simple. So here it will be in the past simple. What is the past of leave? Left. Great. Okay. And the other action should be written in the great, past perfect. So it will be had typed. Great. So May had typed all the letters before she left the office. Okay, now take care that this is a question. Okay, the boys eat all the food by the time you get, and I have to correct the two verbs. The keyword here is by the time, and by the time is followed by past simple, so this will be got. Great. And the other one will be the first action. It will be in the past perfect, but it's in the form of a question, so I have to start with had. Great. So had the boys. What is the past participle of eat? Eaten. Great. So the question will be, had the boys eaten all the food by the time you got home? Number 14, she had washed her hair before she went to the party, and I will form a question asking about her hair. Okay, of course I will start with what, and simply I will make the scissors. So it will be, what had she washed before she went to the party? The last question, I fall asleep in the car by 12 o'clock. I have to correct the verb fall. Of course, the keyword here is by, and we say that by is always followed by a specific time. So the action here will be in the past perfect. Great. So it will be, I had fallen asleep in the car by 12 o'clock. Okay, let's do this choose. It's very easy. Number 1, had or did he eaten the biscuits? Of course, here I have the past participle. Can I put did before? No. So it will be had. Okay, the film hadn't finished or didn't finish by the time we left the cinema. Now, the keyword here is by the time, and it's followed by past simple. So the other action should be in the past perfect. Great. Hadn't finished. The children felt or had felt ill after they ate or had eaten too much ice cream. What is the keyword here? after, and after is always followed by past perfect or past simple. After is followed by past perfect, so this will be had eaten. So the other action should be in the past simple. Great. So this will be the children felt ill after they had eaten too much ice cream. Mom hadn't been or hadn't go to Italy before she met dad. So it's very easy. After had, shall I put the past participle or shall I put the verb as it is? It's very clear. The past participle hadn't been. Before I had gone or went to bed, I had tidied or I tidied up my room. The keyword here is before, and before is followed always by past simple, so it will be went here, and the other action will be had tidied. Okay. Number 6. After we had slept or sleep for an hour, we felt much better. The keyword here is the after, and after is always followed by past perfect. Great. 7. I had gone or I went to the zoo before he arrived or before he had arrived. Before is always followed by past simple, so the other action should be in the great past perfect. So I had gone to the zoo before he arrived. Now we have done all the classwork together. Try to answer the homework on page 49 and check the Facebook page in order to check your answers. Assalamu alaikum.